Greetings, Quester, and welcome to Tiny Meeples' Big Talk with Matt and Richard.
So it's time for another Tiny Meeples Big Talk, and what we've done over a number of episodes now is we've kind of looked at different things in sci-fi and fantasy and looked at how that would impact on your normal everyday life, haven't we? So we've talked about the kind of pets you could have, the best ships to live on.
Yeah, basically our list ones. Isn't it?
Yeah,
Really,
and what we thought we'd do this time is we'd look at which superheroes would be the worst roommate to live with.
Yeah, and I think that could save people a lot of trouble, really.
Well, if you're looking for a roommate and you get an application, from the Hulk or from Batman,
Yeah.
You kind of want to know what things to think about, what sort of things to consider as to whether or not you'd live with them. Because, at first thought, Iron Man would be a brilliant roommate, wouldn't he? Because it's Tony Stark, he's enigmatic, he's rich.
Yeah, trouble is he's a jerk.
Yeah, and he's gonna tell people where you live and threaten them to come and blow your place up, and then he's gonna just take off.
Though moving in his mansion would be better.
Yeah,
because then at least you have all the cool stuff there. But
that would be
if
cool.
He was just moving into your flat, then that would be terrible.
It would.
And one of the things I realised as soon as we came up with this was that we actually know what Thor is like as a roommate, don't we? Because of that Comic-Con video where he lived with Daryl for a while. And we saw a few of the problems there, like he would turn up at his work when he was bored, and also he would leave Mjolnir on the floor while you're trying to hoover around it and you can't move it. Yeah. So just little things like that.
So I've thought of a number of different ones. I've definitely got a top list of worst ones to live with.
I thought you might do. Yeah.
So, for example, I did think of the Flash. Barry Allen's a great guy, but you think about it, he's going to be leaving the house or the flat at supersonic speeds.
Yeah.
So he's going to go by in zooming past, and all your paperwork's going to fly everywhere.
Yeah.
When you've just spent hours organising all your documents and everything, ready to go to send off to pay your taxes, and all of a sudden you've got to start all over again.
Yeah, because they've gone everywhere. I think I would prefer roommates that obey the laws of physics.
Yeah.
Although if we're going to use that as a criteria, it might be slim pickings.
Yeah. Well, then I was also thought of another obvious one would probably be the Hulk. Because the Hulk, if you'd always have to be careful. It's like you can't sort of remind him that he's not paid his rent, or he's not done his chores, because if he'll just get angry and smash the place up.
Well, you can very delicately bring up subjects like that. Like my sister was talking about some of these things that you'd have to watch out for with some of the heroes, and with the Hulk, she said he'd probably very smelly. He kind of looks like he'd be very smelly. I don't know what. I
have to admit as well, I can't help but think if he ate something really spicy, it'd clog the toilet every time.
Yeah. So the thing is, mostly you'd be living with Banner, but unless you get him angry.
Yes.
And he'd just be doing lots of science experiments and things, or I don't know, he'd probably want you to be quiet all the time so we can do some reading. Yeah. And then if you're not quiet, he'll suddenly be smashing the place up and completely green.
So I thought of Angel as well, and then thought, well, if Angel was living with you, for one thing, his wings would just keep knocking things over.
Yeah.
And also feathers would get everywhere, wouldn't they?
Yeah, he molts.
Yeah. And then I thought about like Spider-Man. You're going to be, come on, Spider-Man, you've not paid the rent in 3 weeks. And
he's always broke.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just, you're gonna end up paying that yourself all the time, aren't you?
Yeah. Lots of bad stuff tends to happen to Peter Parker, so you don't really want to be around that.
No. Although he could be like your lightning rod.
Yeah, maybe he gets all the terrible things happen to him.
Groot was another one I thought of.
Yeah.
Because you'd basically be like, okay, Groot, have you seen my keys? And he'd be all, I am Groot.
Yeah. I thought they might be there.
Yeah.
It depends if it's baby Groot in a little pot, but then after he'd grow up, wouldn't he?
Baby Groot's very adorable, isn't he?
Yeah.
It's hard not to like baby Groot, and even with big Groot, it's, it's not that you don't like big Groot, it's just that not necessarily the kind of thing you're looking for in a roommate.
No.
The conversation would get boring quite quickly, I think.
Yeah, it would do, but then you sometimes want people to just keep to themselves.
Plus, genetically engineered raccoons would keep turning up and like demanding people's prosthetics and.
Yeah, sometimes they would. Yeah. just for a joke. But
Yeah.
as long as you're wise to that and you don't help him to get it,
Yeah.
then that's the main thing.
So I did think about those, but were ones that I thought of that were even worse, and that's what I drew my list based on.
Yeah.
Don't know if you had any.
I have got a few particular ones, but they'll probably be on your list if you've got a list. So we'll talk about them as they turn up.
Okay, so number 10 on my list was Legion from Marvel Comics.
Okay.
Now, Legion recently had a TV series made about him.
Oh yeah, you were watching it.
But the character himself was originally, as I say, from Marvel Comics. He was Professor Xavier's son, which is all good so far. But he's got a dissociative identity disorder.
Right.
And that's not the issue. It's that each one of those identities has a different superpower.
Right, so you'd never really tell what you were coming home to each day.
Yeah, and you kind of would maybe make arrangements or plans with one, and then the other person would, another identity would surface.
So anyone with multiple personalities.
I think it would. Yeah, I think it would be difficult. I don't think I've got the ability to care for somebody with that particular problem if they've got superpowers.
Well, you're not trying to be a carer.
No, but you would sort of be, to some extent, it would be difficult because you'd be like, well, I need to remind that guy that, we've got to do this, but he's not there and it's someone else's control and I don't want to be hassling them.
Yeah, well, he's off the list then.
So he's off the list. So, and then I thought, Captain Hammer.
Yeah, from Dr. Horrible.
From Dr. Horrible.
Yeah, he's got a massive ego.
He's got a massive ego, hasn't he? And I thought, there's three main reasons why. First of all, as you say, he's got a massive ego.
Yeah.
And he'd just be constantly putting you down.
Yeah.
He's a douche generally, isn't he?
Yeah, he's pretty horrible.
But then I also thought, and this was probably my number one reason for him not being there, is that he's going to try and steal your missus. And, the fact is that he looks remarkably like Nathan Fillion.
Yeah.
So he probably would be able to steal your missus.
Yeah. That would be quite a feat.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're looking for... Yeah, I don't know. He would sing songs. That's the other trouble.
Yeah, I suppose if you don't like a musical companion, that would be a problem, wouldn't
that's
it?
the trouble. And he likes to solve problems by punching them. And you can't
Yeah.
really do that with a gas bill.
No. I think as well, it's not just the problem that he'd be breaking out into song, but he'd be like throwing people into dustbins.
Yeah, just basically killing people a lot, which mostly heroes don't do, but he does.
But he's more. I say he's definitely a douche, so he would be doing these things.
Yeah.
The Torch, the Human Torch.
Oh, he's an idiot. Yeah, just all round. It's just like, even without bursting into flames, you just want him to move out, wouldn't you?
You would. And the amount of fire damage on your furniture,
yeah.
it wouldn't be good.
And you couldn't tell if his sister was there or not.
Yeah.
Suddenly there's more people in the front.
Yeah, you'd be like wanting to go take a shower and then you get screamed at because you didn't realise that Sue Storm was invisible in the shower, and things like that. It'd be complicated, I think, living with the Torch. Complicated and combustible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Number 7, Swamp Thing from DC Comics.
That'd be very messy.
I just thought...
It's like, who messed up this bathroom? Was it Swamp Thing?
It's like, did I forget to take the rubbish out last night? Oh no, Swamp Thing's just walked in the room.
It'd be embarrassing if you did put him out because you thought it was the rubbish.
Because he's just basically like a mound of rotting vegetables, isn't he?
Yeah, that's the trouble, yeah.
And it's not that he's a bad guy, it's just that it'd be really gross and it'd be smelly all the time, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So I didn't think he would be very good roommate. Beast was my number 6.
Yeah, I really like Beast.
I do, but the
I
fur...
think he'd be a bit pretentious. And yeah, the fur as well. You'd just want to sometimes just watch something stupid and he'd want to put the opera on.
Yeah. And, Heather sometimes reacts to Brody's fur. And I just think that if she reacts to Brody's fur, Beast's fur, he's going to molt.
Be a lot worse.
And blue fur is just going to be messy.
Definitely.
Yeah. And it just makes me feel stupid all the time because he's so intelligent.
Yeah, that is the trouble.
And I know that's my problem, not his. But I'm the one that gets to choose who lives with me. So
yeah, so basically not somebody that's too smart.
Yeah.
And not too obviously smart with it as well.
Yeah, because it's kind of like he'd say something to you, and you wouldn't even know where to start asking the question about which part of that he meant, and
Yeah.
he's so intelligent. So yeah, he was my number 6. My number 5 was Dr. Manhattan.
Right, yeah, because I don't know if in Watchmen whether it showed that he did actually give people cancer or not, if that's just something that Ozymandias said, but you'd always be a bit worried about that. He'd come home and you'd be like going around the walls away from him.
It'd be like, okay, you'd get up, have a coffee with you, and it'd be like, what are you doing today, Matt? And I'd be like, well, I'm going to get another scan again.
Yeah, you get scans every day.
Which probably wouldn't help.
Plus, he can see all of the future as well, can't he? He's just got a very weird outlook. He can be in more than one place at a time. So, yeah.
There'd be no privacy.
No, there'd be no privacy because he could just turn up in several places in the house at once. He doesn't like wearing clothes. That's the other thing.
I have got written here on my notes, Dr. Manhattan, big, blue, naked.
Yeah, so that's basically the 3 things as well with him. Okay, so
and that would make me, because I'm quite conscious about my weight, internet trolls. So, and I just think, he's got like the perfect physique, hasn't he?
Yeah, well, he did
Apart
get
from
to
being blue.
kind of construct his body again after the accident when he kind of disintegrated. So,
It would do my self-esteem a world of damage if I was just constantly seeing this big blue naked guy walk past.
Basically, I wouldn't live with any of the Watchmen apart from maybe the Night Owl guy. He seems pretty normal.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't want to live with Rorschach or the comedian or any of them. That would be terrible.
So he was my number 5. My number 4 was Morph from the X-Men.
Right, yeah. You could never tell who he was.
This is it, because I kind of think, if I had the ability to shapeshift like Morph could, I know I would be making loads of pranks.
Yeah, and he does seem to have that kind of a personality that he would want to be a prankster. So yeah,
and I think that would just be mayhem. You'd have like the police turning up to tell you that your loved ones had died, and then all of a sudden it'd turn out to be Morph, or it'd take on your personality and get you into trouble all the time, and I just think it would be mayhem and pranks. It would be funny, but I think at some point it would become too chaotic.
I mostly know X-Men from the animated series, and he was always dead in that. So that's the other thing. It's like he'd die and then leave you with no rent.
He'd die and leave you with no rent, and then he'd come back later and try and kill you.
Yeah,
if we're basing it on the X-Men cartoon,
that is a good reason not to have Morph as a roommate.
Yeah, and now we're down to my top 3.
Okay. Right. Top 3 bad ones.
Top 3 bad ones.
Right. Okay. So worst 3.
Worst 3. My top worst 3. Okay. The first, I say first one. Number 3 is Doctor Strange.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a pretty weird one. Yeah, Doctor Strange is the Marvel one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Professor Strange is the DC one.
Recently portrayed by Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yep.
In the Marvel Cinematic
Universe. He never really plays somebody that's easy to get along with, does he?
No.
That's a good indication.
I mean, when you think of personally, anyway, when I think of Benedict Cumberbatch, I think of, in order, Sherlock, Doctor Strange, Smaug, and Khan.
Yeah.
And none of those people would be easy to live with.
No.
But also...
Smaug just sleeps on a pile of gold.
Yeah, you'd be like, Smaug, I need the rent. And you're like, my gold, mine.
Yeah, he's just sleeping on the rent.
You take your rent and add it to the pile. Yeah. So I just think, if I lived with Doctor Strange, it would make me question reality a lot.
Yeah,
if he brings his work home with him, you'd be like, hang on, did I take some drugs that I forgot about?
Now we've got 10 flats.
Yeah. And there'd be interdimensional aliens coming through and trying to kill you all the time. Yeah. And I just think it would be very difficult as a living arrangement.
Yeah, I think
good to know as a friend.
Yeah,
but difficult to live with.
He can mess up his own house with reality. Yeah.
I mean, if I would go and visit his house, and I'd quite enjoy visiting his house. Cool.
Yeah, but sometimes you just want to relax in a room that's not spinning.
Yeah. Or infested.
Yeah, there's that as well. Yeah.
So yeah, he was number 3. Number 2, Captain Planet.
Oh, he'd be frowning at you every time you used the car.
Yeah, you'd be like, okay,
Put energy saving everything in the house. Yeah.
You'd be going into the kitchen to get your dinner, and you'd be like, wait a minute, my food's not cooked. And Captain Planet would be saying, yeah, well, that oven's bad for the environment, so I switched you. So now I've got to eat frozen pizza,
Unless he doesn't take his work home with him. Maybe he's like really inefficient at home.
Just walking around the house, turning all the lights on.
Yeah. Spraying aerosols with CFCs in it as well, yeah.
I just imagine, like, every time I turn on, like, the PlayStation or something, Captain Planet would be there tutting.
Yeah, and yet he's got games. It's like older games about him.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like...
So he's a hypocrite.
Yeah, he
living
is.
on royalties of games while telling me that I should be using an energy-saving bulb.
He was on the TV as well.
I know,
that's not good for the environment either, or the electricity that uses up.
I just imagine, I'd be, like, sat there, like, looking at something on my iPad, and he'd be staring at me, and I'd be like, what's up, Planet? And he'd be... I'd be like, in the time that you sat there, a large portion of rainforest has just been destroyed, and I'd be like, well, okay, I won't sit here then.
Yeah. And he's always had them teenagers hanging around with their stupid things.
Yeah.
Especially the one with heart.
Again, I respect what he does. I respect what he stands for.
Yeah.
But I just feel that it constantly be, tutting at me and switching things off what I'm trying to use.
Well, that's if he is that passive about it. He might punch you through the wall.
Yeah,
he really loves the environment.
This is true. I mean, like, Matt, you've had the internet on for 5 hours, and all you've done is look at cat videos.
Yeah,
you have failed this environment. I mean, I'm bad for the environment even without electricity. So I just don't think me and Captain Planet... Again, I think we could get on as friends if we weren't living together.
Yeah.
But I just don't think that we would be a good combination. He's not someone I could live with.
You could just sign his petition or something.
Yeah, I'd do that. I'd do that. But my number one character, and I mean, we talked about Captain Hammer.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't mention Cyclops, but originally I did think of Cyclops for my list as well, because again, like Captain Hammer, it's just someone I really don't like.
Just on a personal level.
On a personal level. But this one, I find him both personally and morally offensive.
Who's that?
Dog Welder.
Dog Welder?
Have you heard of Dog Welder?
No.
He's a character from DC Universe.
Right, yeah.
And what he does, he welds dogs to people. And this guy is actually a hero.
Right, okay.
But he goes around welding dogs to people.
Yeah, he sounds like he'd be far too weird to live with.
Yeah, you don't want to wake up with a spaniel stuck to your leg, do you?
No. Yeah. Is it only bad people?
Not always. I mean, traditionally he was doing that to villains, right. But because you see, there's been 2 different dog welders in the universe. Because the first dog welder died.
Because one wasn't enough.
Well, the first one died, and then basically another guy who was quite a nice guy at first, was taken over by Dog Welder's armor.
Oh, okay.
He bought his armour from a store, and he became the next dog welder.
That sounds cruel.
And that didn't go very well, because first thing he did was he welded the family dog to his children.
Right.
At which meant his ex-wife left him, and there was all sorts of problems.
You'd have to listen to him whine about that as well.
Yeah.
That his ex-wife.
And
just because he welded dogs to the children.
Traditionally as well, Dog Welder doesn't speak.
Okay.
He doesn't speak, he doesn't show his face.
That's kind of a plus.
He just goes around wielding dogs to villains.
Yeah, if it wasn't for that, he'd be alright to get on with.
Yeah. But he did manage to talk to his ex-wife via dog carcasses that he'd welded on. So,
yeah. Oh, okay.
So this is not just somebody that is a douche, but someone who is creepy as anything, morally repugnant. He wouldn't. Again, he doesn't speak, so he wouldn't tell you if if you'd left your keys somewhere.
Yeah.
And I just think that you'd wake up to the smell of burnt dog all the time.
Yeah, that would happen as well, I think.
The apartment would stink.
Well, yeah, it's not like wet dog, it's more like welded dog, which is
roasted dog.
Oh,
that's just not nice, is it? No one's gonna like that. So out of all, I mean, don't get me wrong.
Well, I think
I would live with anybody on this list that I've mentioned rather than Dog Welder.
Well, I think you just didn't so much find the one that'd be the worst hero to live with. You just found the worst hero.
Yeah.
So yeah, that kind of could be the top of lots of worst lists, really. Dog Welder. We'll have to make sure he's at the top of most things.
Yeah.
So,
or at least gets an honorary mention.
Yeah, it should.
Or maybe we should call it a dishonorary
Yeah,
mention for Dog Welder.
Yeah, a bit like how Cthulhu controls our every podcast. Like Dog Welder is like the anti-sponsor of each one. It's like we're doing each of these against Dog Welder.
The Meddlesome Meeples, not brought to you by Dog Welder.
Yeah, we're brought to you by everybody else.
I just can't, can you imagine them trying to include him in a film? The amount of
let's just wait for the Justice League. They might have Dog Welder in there. That might be just the surprise stunt casting.
Dog Welder in there welding things to Aquaman.
Yeah. Aquaman it might just be an Easter egg. Like for one scene, Aquaman's got a dog welded to his leg, and then you just know that Dog Welder's been there.
And then later on, just a random panoramic with the camera of Jason Momoa hitting this guy.
Yeah. Right.
So yeah, my number
one
worst one to live with, Dog Welder from DC. So Richard, what did you find?
Well, most of them are a bit similar, but I was thinking more mainly of mostly like X-Men and also Marvel heroes and DC ones. It was hard to think of some of them because they are similar to. Well, it's just the fact that they're so rich. Some of them, like we were saying about Tony Stark, that'd be a bit weird to live with because like, well, he'd have to have lost all his money one day basically, and maybe he'd only have one Iron Man suit left or something like that. The same goes for Batman, really.
Would you feel bad though if you lived with Batman every time your parents came round? Would you
Yeah.
feel bad that you were there having a nice coffee with your parents and Bruce is just in the corner crying?
Well, no, because he would then leave and beat up some thugs. That's how he copes with it.
Actually, one thing, if you live with Batman, you do know that the neighbourhood watch is pretty much got the easiest job in the world.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And if you want to get rid of him for a while, you just shine a backlight in the sky and he'll go off doing stuff. that kind of helps. Downsides of that is his friends are pretty weird. I mean, he's quite quiet and you could kind of get on with him. You couldn't be still have like the playboy lifestyle if he was just living in a flat somewhere. That'd be a bit difficult. So he probably just quieted down a lot, and then you could just kind of hang around, and then he'll kind of go out at night and start solving these crimes and stuff. And
you'd be like just trying to have a nice quiet game of cards with your friends, and you'd suddenly see a little card of the Joker on the table and start going crazy.
Yeah, that could be the problem as well. And another thing that my sister pointed out was about Wolverine. Not only does he constantly have knives in his fists, which is just a bit weird and a little bit dangerous, but he also has night terrors.
Yes,
and
I did think about his night terrors.
There isn't a single. There's not many X-Men films where he doesn't wake up from a nightmare at some point, and he normally stabs someone. And he'll be safely in another room, but I don't trust him not to sleepwalk. Really,
I did actually think about. I nearly included Wolverine in my list for that very reason, but I thought, you know what? If I lived with Wolverine, I'd put a lock on the inside of my door, and I'd just lock the bedroom door at night.
Yeah, but then he'd just go. And it would be gone.
Yeah, but I think that goes from sleepwalking and night terrors to just murder.
Yeah, but I wouldn't put that past him either. That's the trouble. He's such an unpredictable guy. So, yeah, that's kind of one of the problems with him, really. Yeah, all the X-Men are pretty weird in their own ways, and when you think of the Avengers as well, some of them don't seem so bad. But I think you've mentioned like the worst ones anyway. Like, I think the Hulk would be the worst one.
No one's yet mentioned Black Widow as someone that would be a bad roommate.
Well, I think she'd be alright. She seems pretty responsible, and she would just kind of pay the rent on time. Yeah, she'd be a good roommate.
I think she would be a good roommate.
I think a lot of the Avengers, although they're quite strange, a lot of them would be pretty like Captain America. That was another one.
Yeah.
He would.
Oh,
he is Captain America.
You know for a fact he's not going to forget to take the bins out.
No,
Duty
he's going to do everything. He'd do it before you even mention it. Yeah. So, yeah, you can't really say that some of those would be bad. The Justice League on the other hand, we were talking a bit about Martian Manhunter, another one, like what the heck does he eat? As far as how he eats the cookies. So I think he'd be quite easy to live with. And
I think the Green Lantern would be an awesome person to...
yeah, he'd be pretty good. Oh, that's just reminded me of Deadpool.
I did think of Deadpool, you
He'd
know.
be a pretty bad roommate.
And I thought, because he nearly made my list, because I thought, you know, he's going to fly off into rages, he's going to defile your unicorn toys.
He would just do whatever's funny. But it'd
be
just
hilarious.
be funny to him, but it'd be very annoying to me.
But he'd every now and then he'd fly off into a rage and kill the TV or something like that.
Yeah, he might do.
And also, the amount of Mexican food that guy eats,
Yeah.
he's gonna make some bad smells in the toilet.
So there's basically a lot of them that would do that.
But he would probably come home with chimichangas to share.
Yeah, but you probably get sick of them every single day.
Yeah.
You just seem to be quite obsessed with that. So yeah, I think we've mentioned most of the main ones, haven't we? And you've also mentioned some obscure ones. I'd just like to mention I did get a graphic novel the other day, Future Echo... No, not Future Echoes, that's a flipping Red Dwarf thing. Future Shocks.
All right.
Which is an Alan Moore one. And yeah, I've got a feeling that the guy from that will probably be a pretty bad roommate, but I haven't read it yet, so... there might be an update on this. I mean, it looks like it's pretty good. So I might talk about it in Tome Talk or something. I haven't really talked about a graphic novel on that yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there are basically a lot of heroes that would make very bad roommates. And I think basically someone without superpowers would generally be better to live with. And even if they haven't got superpowers, like Tony Stark... and Batman and some others, when they have obsessions to the point that these guys have, then it's going to always be a little bit awkward. So,
who would, out of all the ones we've talked about, who would be your number one worst roommate?
A number one worst one, I would think the Hulk, just because of the unpredictability, and you just know that if you're living with someone, you're going to make them angry at some point. And normally that's not terminal. Most of the others, although they could get angry, they wouldn't actually lose control completely to that extent, so that the army can't even stop them. So, yeah, but I think this is the trouble. I think he might be my number one worst one because, I mean, talking to Banner would be so good. Because he'd obviously been doing a lot of research and stuff like that, and you could talk... I mean... like nuclear physics is so interesting anyway, unless he went on about it all the time. So like that aspect would be good.
He may be under like non-disclosure agreements to stop him talking about these things with you.
Yeah, but then just ask the Hulk. Yeah, here's your puny non-disclosure agreement. So yeah. So yeah, that's the thing. Like, I would be tempted to live with Banner, but the Hulk would be so bad that would just make it pretty bad. And I hadn't really heard of Dog Welder before, so yeah, that has got to be the worst thing I've ever heard. So yeah, he would be a bad one.
It would be so distressing to children as well, wouldn't it?
It would, yeah, because it seems like at first like they could quite like him until they realise what he's actually doing.
Yeah. Oh, this guy's got loads of dogs. That must be a stand-up guy. And then 5 minutes later,
yeah, so that would be pretty bad.
Yeah.
So I think you've got a pretty good comprehensive list there. But basically, my idea is that I wouldn't really like to live with a superhero because they're either going to be smashing the place or looking down on you. Or smelling up the place. So I think there's disadvantages to most of them, really.
There were ones I thought of and dismissed very quickly, like Radioactive Man.
Yeah, same reason as Dr. Manhattan.
So there is, again, there's a lot of scope for superheroes that you don't want to live with you. Maybe one day we'll have to do a list or think of the best superhero roommates. Yeah. But I have to admit, it's probably been a lot easier to think of ones that I wouldn't want to live with.
Well, they're all weird in some way. I mean, even Superman, you think like with his powers, he'd be able to do all the chores and everything straight away. But like,
But
It's
would he
not-
want to? I mean, because I thought
no,
that
that's
with
the
the
thing.
Flash, because I thought, there is. I mean, I think when I know that there's crime out there that needs fighting,
Yeah.
I'd feel really bad making or asking the Flash to use his superpowers to paint my room or something like that.
Yeah, but he could do it in a second, and so could
Mm.
Superman. But it's just the
true.
judgment from Superman that would be pretty bad because
And I
he's
suppose,
a big blue Boy Scout. That was what I was
Yeah.
going to say. So,
yeah, it'd be. Well, have you been making some morally questionable decisions that he'd judge you for, or?
I don't know. I mean, living with him. I mean, if you suddenly kind of forget to do your side of the jobs or something, and or depending like what you watch on TV or whatever, I don't know, he could just suddenly disapprove of it, and then you just have to get the kryptonite out.
He'd probably just not approve of all the Batman memorabilia as well that you've got.
Actually,
around.
yeah, he wouldn't like it that I prefer Batman.
Because there's bound to be a little bit of a rivalry going on. If he's not gonna like, it's like if I think as well with Superman, if you were living with Superman, or should I say, if you were living with Clark Kent,
Yeah,
probably.
most
If
of
you were
the
living
time.
with Clark Kent,
But he is
that you didn't know he was Superman.
yeah, yeah.
And then one day you realise, you'd be like, I've been living with this guy for 6 years, and he's pulled the wool over my eyes by wearing a simple pair of glasses.
Well, just one day he doesn't put his glasses on in the morning. It's Superman.
Or when you're like sharing a picture from a party at your flat, and like the facial recognition software on Facebook just tries to tag Superman into the picture.
Yeah, you're like, stop that. He's Clark Kent. Stupid computer. But yeah, I think he wouldn't be such a bad one. But
No.
I'm just saying, like, he's not on our worst list by any means. But
He wouldn't be on your top list either.
well, no. No, I don't think so. It's just
Plus, he'd be constantly trying to get you to go to the Fortress of Solitude, and you'd be there freezing. You'd be
No,
like,
I think-
Superman,
no.
I don't want to go to the Fortress of Solitude.
Actually, no. I don't think he would want me to go there because it's his Fortress of Solitude. So, if I was annoying him, he could just go there.
Yeah.
And no, I was just saying, like, even though he's not on my worst list, I don't think any superheroes would be very good to live with, really, just because they're all so strange.
I do think that there are some. As I say, I would happily live with and he said Scarlett Johansson. I'll have to edit this bit out.
That's what you're thinking of. No, don't
I would
edit it
happily.
out.
Okay, yeah. Well, we're being honest, aren't we? I'd happily live with Black Widow. I'd happily live with Captain America from the Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
I think Hawkeye would be a good person to live with in some ways.
I don't really like him.
Especially but imagine if you lived on a farm. I just think he'd be useful.
Yeah, if you're going to just who's useful. A lot of them would be useful.
A lot of them would be useful.
Mm.
And Supergirl, I'd live with Supergirl.
Yeah.
I'd live with. Actually, looking at the X-Men, I was gonna say I'd live with either Psylocke or Gambit, but I mean Gambit is like one of the most famous thieves in the comic world, and even though he's reformed, I think every time you lost a fiver, you'd be thinking, "Oh, where's Gambit? Where's he
Yeah.
nicked my money again?"
Yeah,
So
maybe.
from the X-Men, I'd probably be willing to live with Psylocke, and that's about it. But even then, you'd have ninjas sneaking into your apartment to try and
That's
kill
the
your
other problem.
roommate. Yeah.
Yeah, you're always going to get,
any hero you live with is likely to be targeted by people.
And if you make friends with them, then a villain will capture you in order
Yeah.
to make them do stuff. So that's always going to be pretty bad.
And I think, as I say, with you take Dog Welder into account, you've not got to just think of villains, but you've got to think of people like the RSPCA. They're going to be around all the time. And you can be like, well, can you please take this psychopath away from me?
Yeah, but that's back to our worst
But
list,
can you
isn't
make
it?
him-
I mean,
yeah.
we'd want him to get caught by the
Yeah.
RSPCA.
Yeah, but not until he's paid his rent.
Yeah.
So anyway, there we go. So the Hulk and Dog Welder, they are our two worst ones to live with. We hope
Don't
that...
even ask.
Yep. So if you are looking for a roommate and you get an application from Dog Welder or the Hulk, remember this episode.
Mm.
Don't fall victim to thinking, oh, well, this person's a hero, it's going to increase my street cred. No, it won't. It will make your life hell.
Just say no. They keep on tricking people into living with them and then jumping out from the vents. So, yeah.
Superhero flatmates, just say no. Thank you.
Farewell, Quester. To find out about other productions by the Meddlesome Meeples, then check out our channel or rendezvous with us at meddlesomemeeples.com. Until next time, Quester, farewell and keep thine axe sharp.